Hello, Jesse. This is Axel from Traces of Beauty, and we would like to give a little Q&A session for our upcoming retreat, the Golden Souls Desert Retreat, from 29 of November to 7 of December this year. And would you like to briefly introduce yourself and Sahara Yoga?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you and meet you. I'm Jessie from Sahara Yoga, and personally, I can say I'm connected to the desert for almost 5 years now, working for Sahara Yoga more than 2 years, and I have spent a lot of time there. It's just my second home, I can tell you. And to share the vision of Sahara Yoga also a little bit with you. Um, I think it was there was this one story when Barak was sitting in the dunes and he had like really this vision of what he wants in his life. And he had this idea. He was already living in Germany for a longer time. And he really felt that he wanted to bring two worlds together, so two cultures together and build this bridge between these two worlds. And he started, oh, it's a nice idea just to show the desert to his friends and also to bring his friends to his family. So there is an intercultural exchange. And with this idea, it started and it grew and grew with the years. And now we offer more than 30 journeys every year, yoga
Beautiful.
retreats in the desert. It's really a special place which holds the energy. And yeah, it's just this idea that we create a space where a lot of transformation happens, a lot of um, authenticity is happening, so people can meet each other in authenticity, being themselves, and just nothing else.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jesse. This Q&A session is mostly about logistical and practical info. So my first practical question is, how do I get to the desert?
So we have a little airport. It's called Erachidia. It's the desert airport. It's in Morocco. And it's very comfortable to reach from Casablanca. So Casablanca is the biggest airport in Morocco. And every day in the evening, there is one flight from Casablanca to Erachidia in the late evening with the Royal Air Maroc. This is the airline. And from Erachidia, the small airport, we will pick up all our participants with drivers. Then there's a drive about 1.5 hours to the desert, and the first night is in a hotel, very comfortable, very nice. And this is how the journey starts to the desert.
And I believe at the next day, we will start with the camels. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Next days, we have a nice breakfast, and after this, we start with the camel trekking to the camp.
Amazing. And I heard also there's a connection via Marrakesh. Is that right?
Yeah, this is right. It's 2 times a week. There is a connection between Marrakesh and Erachidia with Ryanair. Uh, till I think the beginning of November, the flight was indeed on Friday and Sunday, but from November on this year, it changes to Saturday and Monday. So for the arrival in the desert, it doesn't make so much sense because the flight
I
will be
see.
on Saturday.
I see.
But for the departure, it might be a good idea. For the flight back on Saturday with Ryanair to Marrakesh, it's a possibility.
Okay. And for the flight to Casablanca, I heard that there is the cheapest or like the most price-worthy option is from Prague. Is that, did you hear that also?
To Casablanca.
Yes.
To be honest, no, I haven't heard this because there's so many flight connections to Casablanca. It might be, definitely, but I think anyway, if you have to know from which airport you start, and then
Okay.
it's a good idea to use this skyscanner.com or Opodo for the flight connections, because from France there's Air France flying. Royal Air Maroc is flying from Germany, Spain, Italy. It has this really good connection. because you can go via Casablanca directly to Erachide. So there is just one booking with 2 flights.
Yeah. Which will be with a propeller machine, right? From Casablanca to Erechida. It's not a jet, it's a propeller.
Yeah, it's a small machine. It's just
Yeah.
4 people in a row. Yeah, but it's a quite small airplane. Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So, what special features in the desert should I prepare for?
Yeah, I think mostly or most important is that you're really confronted with a high dryness. So people who are sensitive to dry air, to dry weather, it's really a good idea to bring even nasal drops, eye drops, a good body cream, a good body oil, and stuff like this. And also to be prepared for the weather conditions. So at the beginning of December, it's getting cold at night. So yeah, maybe bring a sleeping bag. If you want to sleep outside, maybe even bring a hood or something to cover in the night. Yeah, that's maybe a good idea.
Can you give some figures like cold and like that's relative? Like how much? How cold does it get? How hot does it get?
Mm, yeah, I don't know the exact amount of degrees, but in the day it's really nice. So you can go maybe with a t-shirt or a light pullover or something. You'd really have to think always that the sun is strong, even in December and January. So it's really always needed to have a sun protection on the head or something if you stay out for a longer time. It might have 25 degrees, 30 degrees, something like this. In the night, it will go approximately down to 5 degrees.
Okay, yeah. I remember that in 2016 when I was there and doing the photo shoot at the sunrise, we had 4 degrees
Yeah.
in outside. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have cell phone coverage in the desert or Wi-Fi at all? Something.
By now we have cell coverage because Morocco wants that, yeah, even in the desert people are connected and have this connection.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so to be honest, we have this cell coverage, but for us, we really think and our idea is that it should be a week of digital detox. So really to stay away from all the technical devices.
Yeah.
We will give the number of Barak's phones from his Morocco phone and his German phone to all the participants before we start the journey. So if people want, they can give these numbers to their relatives, to their families, friends. And in case there is anything, these friends and family can reach Barak yeah, at every time. If it's really necessary, Barak can also borrow his phone, maybe for a little WhatsApp call. If it's really necessary, it's all possible. So no one has to be scared to be completely offline. But we have the experience. It's just nice to have this offline time.
Yeah. I feel the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When I was in the desert in 2016, there was a different camp. I learned that there's a new camp now at a different location. So, can you share a little bit about the camp and how do we sleep there?
Yeah, sure. So maybe to start with the sleeping accommodations, we have this really nice, big, stable Berber tents. They have about 15 square meters or even more, and they have just normal beds or like really stable beds, and they are provided with everything with bed sheets, pillows, and we also provide towels. Every tent has a little wardrobe just to, yeah, for some of the clothes and everything. Also, there's a small table in every tent. We don't have we have electricity in the small tents, so there will be light and everything. But if you need to charge your phone, it's not possible in the smaller tents. We have a bigger restaurant which is shared with everyone. There we also have plugs, so it's possible to yeah, charge phones or I don't know, headlights or something.
Yeah.
And the whole camp, it's created like a little oasis. So we have more than planted more than 600 trees, and some of them are quite big by now. So we have a lot of natural places of shade. We have hammocks. We even have a nice yoga room, which is made out of wooden. It's a wooden construct. So it's very nice. If it's sometimes maybe too windy or too hot or something, or too cold, whatever, we can always do the yoga very comfortable. We have this beautiful yoga platform in between the dunes just to make beautiful yoga in the sunset time or in the sunrise time. And we also have an open tent, which just gives us shade, so it's perfect for meditation or something. We have a nice restaurant, which is quite good for the cooler time of the year to eat there and dinner. And in the day, we usually eat outside. There we have a bigger place with a lot of shade. And yeah, I think that's the whole area of the camp. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And what should I bring into the desert?
Yeah. Also here, the advice, there will be a packing list that I will send to all the participants 3 or 4 weeks before the journey starts. But I think most important here already is bring your personal stuff, like personal medicines that you really need. If you want to have your personal yoga mat, you can bring it. We have yoga mats in the camp, but they are just standard yoga mats. So yeah, if you want to have your own, you're welcome to bring your own yoga mat. And then protection from the sun, like sun cream, but also hats or something. Also warmer clothes because it's getting colder at the night. A headlight is a good idea. And what is also a good idea, what we like to recommend, is to walk through the sand. There are these beach volleyball socks. And they're really special because also when the sand is a little bit hot or it's a little bit cold, it's nice. You can still walk through the sand, and it's a very good feeling. It's not so easy
That's
sometimes
cool.
to walk through the but with the socks, it's really quite easy.
Good tip. Thank
Yeah.
you. Didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about food? Especially important for me.
Yeah. So the food is completely vegetarian, and I think 90% it's even vegan. And there will be always breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And all that we cook is really house made, it's self made. We even make the bread by ourselves. So it's really freshly cooked. And also, if people have maybe some allergies or some problems with food or anything, you can just tell us and we will take care of this. So we can also make gluten-free kind of bread or something. So we have a lot of options. And yeah, to be honest, a lot of people say just for coming for the food to the desert, it was worth the whole journey.
Yeah, I can relate to that. It was very delicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the tahines, I really, really love.
Yeah, it's really good food.
Yeah. So some very practical thing. What happens to the deposit if the trip doesn't materialize?
Okay, so normally we say that, of course, we have like our standards, but our basic is that we always want to give options to our participants. So if a journey might not take place, or if people have any reason not to come to the desert, they get chance to keep the deposit for the next 2 years and choose any other journey from Sahara Yoga. So the full deposit can be used for another journey. For this journey, we said, okay, it's an English retreat, and Sahara Yoga doesn't offer a lot of English retreats. To be honest, it's maybe 1 or 2 every year. So in this case, people are really free to make their cancellation. We just keep a fee of €50 per person because we have some payment fees. We have to make the cancellation. So everything apart from the 50 euro, we will give back to the participants in case of
Great.
cancellation.
Yeah, thank you for that. And well, why is the desert such a wonderful place for practicing meditation and doing conscious work?
I think it's this really special energy of the desert by itself. If you have never been to the desert, I think it's really hard to imagine, but there is this absolute vastness. There is this silence that you hardly ever find somewhere in Europe or in our modern world. And the energies are working there so strongly. So at night, we have really a strong influence of the moon, of the stars. In the day, we have the energy of the sun. And just this, it creates a really strong place with a lot of clarity. And all this works within us. So every meditation we practice, every yoga that we practice in the desert, it just increases its effects just by the surround of the desert. So clarity, vastness, silence, it all works together.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's a very powerful spot on this planet, I can say from experience. And how do people change when they visited the desert? Do you have some observation about that?
Yeah, for me, I feel that often a visit in the desert, it changes people for a lifetime, or this time in the desert, it stays in the hearts of the people for the whole life. Mm, it's really a place of transformation. That's my personal experience, and this is my experience that I have seen with a lot of visitors, because it's a space that is really created. It's highly charged, and people find the peace just to be with themselves. They find the silence to be with themselves, and they really get the chance to make maybe important decisions, to release all pain, or just to find the courage to go in new directions. And also, yeah, maybe it sounds a little bit dramatic, but I feel that this light of the desert, it really touches something inside us and helps people to shine again from themselves, from inside. And this is what people bring out in the world again after this.
That's so lovely. That's how do you describe that. Thank you.
Mm.
So Sahara Yoga does not offer only trips to the desert. You can also take care of the children in Mesuga, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's Mesuga and also some smaller villages around. Altogether, there are almost 500 children who are supported from Sahara Yoga and the whole project. So it's not only their education, it's also if one of the children might get sick, we try to help them, provide them some health issues. And it was also a vision of Barak's father, which he gave to Barak, that the children, they are the future and they're so important. And they create the base for the whole village, of course, for the future. And so there is a strong focus on the children, and we really try, just our best to provide a lot of children. Sometimes it's hard for children who live more far away, still living like nomads. So education is not something given there, and that's something that we really try to support.
Yeah, great. Very beautiful. Do you have anything else you think that should be important to be mentioned here in the practical and logistical part?
Yeah, I think one more thing. If you come to Morocco, there's just one thing that you really have to make sure: your passport should be valid for at least 6 months at the time when you enter Morocco. And also, if if you don't have a European citizenship, just always make sure about the visa restrictions, or if there's anything else to do about the visa, because we know for the Germans or the Austrian people who are most of our visitors, European people, it's quite easy to enter Morocco. So you will get the visa just in the moment you enter the country. But it's not for all citizenships like this. So just make sure that you inform yourself about visa
Yeah, good to know.
regulations.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Jessie. It was a pleasure. And I hope to. Will you be in the desert in the November, or you?
Yeah, I will come to Morocco, to the desert, in October, at the beginning of October. I don't really know how long I will stay. I will stay till the end of November. So I think we might see us.
We might see us. Great. Beautiful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you too.